B. I need a contraption for this. Who's a genius? It's me. I'll get a piece of fabric attached to a string. You see what's back in my step? That's right, the spring. The leaves give the flavor without the fear of spreading. Now this is the greatest invention since the dawn of bedding. Now it can be enjoyed with any snack, sweet or salty. With this invention there is squat that is faulty. I look in my creation and I proudly wave my victory flag. It's like someone eating nuts, cause I just made the tea bag. The year is 1906, a more uncivilized time, where tea leaves were just infesting everywhere. The issue presenting itself was the leaves getting everywhere. Frustration of wanting to drink made it so unfair. All I want to do is enjoy the tasty water. Getting leaves in your teeth turns it to an enjoyment slaughter. Needs someone to come along and fix this heinous blot. Then I thought, that's me, I'm a genius on the spot. I need to cleanly move the leaves from point A to B. I need a contraption for this. Who's a genius? It's me. I'll get a piece of fabric attached to a string. You see what's back in my step? That's right, the spring. The leaves give the flavor without the fear of spreading. Now this is the greatest invention since the dawn of bedding. Now it can be enjoyed with any snack, sweet or salty. With this invention there is squat that is faulty. I look in my creation and I proudly wave my victory flag. It's like someone eating nuts, cause I just made the tea bag. The year is 1906, a more uncivilized time, where tea leaves were just infesting everywhere. The issue presenting itself was the leaves getting everywhere. Frustration of wanting to drink made it so unfair. All I want to do is enjoy the tasty water. Getting leaves in your teeth turns it to an enjoyment slaughter. Needs someone to come along and fix this heinous blot. Then I thought, that's me, I'm a genius on the spot. I need to cleanly move the leaves from point A to B. I need a contraption for this. Who's a genius? It's me. I'll get a piece of fabric attached to a string. You see what's back in my step? That's right, the spring. The leaves give the flavor without the fear of spreading. Now this is the greatest invention since the dawn of bedding. Now it can be enjoyed with any snack, sweet or salty. With this invention there is squat that is faulty. I look in my creation and I proudly wave my victory flag. It's like someone eating nuts, cause I just made the tea bag. The year is 1906, a more uncivilized time, where tea leaves were just infesting everywhere. The issue presenting itself was the leaves getting everywhere. Frustration of wanting to drink made it so unfair. All I want to do is enjoy the tasty water. Getting leaves in your teeth turns it to an enjoyment slaughter. Needs someone to come along and fix this heinous blot. Then I thought, that's me, I'm a genius on the spot. I need to cleanly move the leaves from point A to B. I need a contraption for this. Who's a genius? It's me. I'll get a piece of fabric attached to a string. You see what's back in my step? That's right, the spring. The leaves give the flavor without the fear of spreading. Now this is the greatest invention since the dawn of bedding. Now it can be enjoyed with any snack, sweet or salty. With this invention there is squat that is faulty. I look in my creation and I proudly wave my victory flag. It's like someone eating nuts, cause I just...
Hi all. Hello. Hello lovelies. I got news about that. I've got new emotes. I don't know if you can hear me. I got my I can't spell, yeah. My wonderful I can't spell, because I can't spell. And it's spiel. Also, my wonderful banana, which is the picture in the corner there. Banana Jim. Hopefully they won't get in trouble for that. But yeah, wonderful Apom drew them for me. Yeah, I have my phone here to tell me if people are here, but it disconnected me from the chat. So I didn't see anyone, so hello all. Just see if I can get back onto the chat. There we go. So, hello. Excited. I actually got a few warnings about the thing today because I'm uneasy about it. This one made me a bit uneasy. I didn't expect it to be so much. So I got... But apparently you can't leave. Nightbot has told you. But hello Swedish 9-year-old. Hello Jin. Hello, Francie. So just check to make sure we've got a few people in before I give warnings. First of all, I want to give my opinion on something before I start talking about one of the subject matters, because I don't want to talk about it in a way in this, and that is drug use. I'm not offended by drug use. If you want to use drugs, that's fine. I'm against... Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. But I will not hate someone for doing drugs. Hey, Flat. Thank you. Thank you for that. My thing is, I don't hate someone. Oh, thank you. I do not hate someone for doing drugs, all that stuff. What I don't like is manipulating someone for doing drugs, making someone else do drugs, all that kind of thing. I don't have a hatred of drugs. It's not a thing for me. Warning also before I get into it. If you have like a thing about child abuse, would not... Trigger warning, I guess, I would say. If you don't like listening to child abuse, absolutely would not listen to this. It's a bit much on the child abuse front. Stretchy. It is a lot. It is a cult, and there's a lot. Yeah, I got a bit uncomfortable, I'll say at least. Yeah. I'm already uncomfortable. I haven't even started. But yeah, I guess I'll just jump in and hope for the best. And yeah. So, talking about cults. So the cult that I am talking about is an Australian one. It is called The Family, or there's many names for it. There's many names. The Family, or Sinaticanton Park Association, or the Great White Brotherhood, which is a bit on the nose. But yeah, it's a very interesting cult, because apparently it was very well known, which, again, Australian things, they say, oh, it's very well known. Yeah, Great White Brotherhood, which is interesting because majority of the people in this cult are women. It's run by a woman. It's tons of children. This is very majority bringing in children. It's extremely sad. I can't emphasize this enough. If you don't want to hear about child abuse, I emphasize, don't listen. It is horrendous. I'm probably one of the only people who's just saying, don't listen to this. But yeah, but I'm gonna start with the theory, as I always do, like very theoretical things, all that kind of stuff. So, because it is in the 1950s, 1960s that it starts, so I'm just gonna go through why so many cults tended to form in this time, while leaders of cults generally have a tendency to be psychopaths, like church leaders, psychopaths, leaders in general, they have this like narcissistic tendencies, very like, I want to be a leader, all that stuff, but it's like other people who are like kind of looking for meaning, looking for somewhere to go. They're looking for someone to lead them. So it's like, what happened in the 1950s, 1960s for this to grow so rapidly? So I did a lot of research into this. So in that time, it was a very growing spiritually. People stopped going from, well, let's get the American dream and have the family and have more spirituality and just, yeah, and it's like stop going from traditional family values to non-traditional family values. And that led to more of there's very lack of trust in institutions. And that's like rapidly grew from media. And I know that people nowadays are having like a loss of trust in media now. But back then, like, media was just starting to grow and people were starting to listen more to media and going, oh no, our institutions. Hey, no slang. How you doing? But people were starting to lose trust in institutions because the media was like, oh, this institution is... Oh, good, I'm glad. Kim, thank you for following me. Hey. It's my sister-in-law just followed me. But no, they were just like losing, because back then, and this is a terrible thing as well. This is a very horrible subject matter. Like, I do my thing. No, so one of the things that happened in Britain at the time was the Wolfden Report, which a lot of high officials and religious figures were found to be homosexuals. And back then, being homosexual was illegal. Follow, yes. But yeah, if you were found to be homosexual if you were found to be homosexual in like 50s, it was like, oh my god, that's horrible, how dare you shun them, or you'd be arrested because it was illegal. And so that happened, and you had in this subject right now, England and America overlap a lot in this. So you had the priest serving the Ken and Christ Church in Oxford got arrested. You had the Presbyterian minister got arrested, and that ended up with the Sexual Offences Act happening. And so that's one thing that just like everyone's like, oh, we can't trust the churches because, yeah, which is, again, wrong. But then there was the Vietnam War, which, you know, you had everyone protesting, everyone getting up in arms, all that stuff. Then you had Vatican II, which, you know, the Pope ended up dying suspiciously, and they had to get another Pope in to fix Vatican II. That was suspicious, and they changed everything about the Catholic Church. So religion wasn't the safe thing that everyone was trusting. And then there was all experimenting with drugs, and everything was completely different. It was a completely different world. And then that leads into, I'm not gonna put in pictures of LSD because I don't know how Twitch would, but I got the grooviness. Sorry, I just really like this scene. So we've got the so the main drug in this story is LSD, and they were very much experimenting with LSD at the time. So LSD is, what's its name? Lysergic acid dithelmolide, and it modulates your consciousness. So I've got a link here, so I'll look into that a bit more. Yeah, I know the background's awesome. Love it. Just getting things up. So what happened was, like, in the 1950s, it was being experimented as a truth drug, mind control, just to control people, all that thing. But it was also being used as, like, a party drug, all that kind of thing. It was just a very big drug at the time. It was used to as a robust psychological effects, used heightened moods, but also scores very high on the PSI index. So it gives you, like, it can make you psychotic, it gives you psychotic symptoms. It can make you very optimistic, which can sometimes make you very, like, if you're very optimistic, like, overtly, you can do really dumb things. Make you delusional. So, yeah, just all that stuff. There you go. So that's just some of the theory I needed to get through to kind of give you the background of, I'm just really into this right now. I'm hyping it. I can hear my husband laughing. I don't know if it's at me. Going into the crime. Okay. So, Anne Hamilton Byrne, who's born Evelyn Grace Victoria Edwards, she is the main centre of the whole thing. She's born in, oh God, I didn't even notice this. Why? What happened? Get back to work. What were you laughing at? Sorry, I need to stop this. What were you laughing at? Were you laughing at me? No? Okay. I'll get back to it. No, I saw something funny. Okay. I didn't even notice this when I was researching this. Evelyn Grace Edwards, who changes her name, was born on my birthday, 30th December 1921. Fuck. Yes, he was laughing at a mirror. You'll tell me after? Okay, thank you. She was born on the 30th of December 1921. So, a thing that happens in a lot of... it's a very common thing with people who do bad things. Like, spoiler alert, she does bad things. People who do bad things tend to have really rough upbringings. So what I have found, this isn't a study, this is my personal belief. You tend to go two different ways. You either become extremely empathetic, helpful human, or you tend to be extremely psychopathic if you hurt people, like if you have like a really rough upbringing. So her childhood was she was born to a father who fought in World War One, and his second wife, who ended up they had 7 kids. The mother ended up having schizophrenia and was hospitalised in 4 mental institutions in Melbourne. So all happens in Melbourne. Forgot to mention that. So she ends up in hospital. He ends up not being able to take care of 7 kids, so she spends most of her time in the old Melbourne orphanage. And just when she's in the orphanage, she sees all these rich all rich people and seeing all how they spend their time, and she just longs for it. And then she spends she spends time in Sunshine Primary School at age 8, and she's just then when she's in high school, no one knows what happens. Not much is said. Then in 1941, she marries Lionel Harris, and no one's actually, because it's such like a long time ago, the records are very unsure if she was married under Anne or married under Evelyn. So can't give you the records on that one. But she has a child named Judith. Yeah. I'm doing my best with how old this is. She has a child named Judith, and he's in the Air Force, but he leaves the Air Force because she has declining mental health and worries about Judith. And he worries that she's inherited schizophrenia. But she has been diagnosed with depression. That's it. No schizophrenia, just depression. But so he starts becoming a car salesman. They move out of Melbourne a little bit. And then 10 years later, he dies in a car accident. No one knows, like, there's no record of what happens to Judith. Don't know what's going on with that. In 1965, Anne marries another man, Michael Riley. A year later, they're divorced. So what happens with Anne is that she becomes a yoga instructor. She wants her yoga classes to be all about the physical, the mental, the emotional. She wants to control people's bodies. When she's doing her yoga classes, she starts love bombing. Like, I think I've explained this in another class, another thing. Yeah, Melbourne. Another thing where when you love bomb, you just like give all your love and then you trap them. And then you just like treat them like shit, but they're so obsessed that... Yes, this is class now. This is now class. That you just kind of like... They're so obsessed with you that you just kind of like... You can treat them however you want, and they'll still be there. So she's got so many women obsessed with her that they can't leave. And I just want to point out, this is a picture of her. She's in her, I think she's in her 50s here. She's got so much plastic surgery done that everyone was just obsessed with her. She's just gorgeous. Everyone loves her. She's naturally got dark hair. She dyes her hair blonde. She thinks, like, it's not said, but she wants like to look a certain way. She wants people to love her. It's very narcissistic tendencies, which I find fascinating. I find narcissists very fascinating, personally. Horrible, but fascinating. So then we lead on to an actually really well-known person, which didn't know about, Dr. Raynell Carey Johnson. He is the third master of Queen's College at Melbourne. Yeah. This one threw me through a bit. So, Johnson was born in Leeds, in England. A lot of people that Anne was associated with were actually born in England. She had a tendency to surround herself with English men, actually. So, he was born in Leeds, England, and educated in Branford Grammar School. You have no idea. You've no idea. So, he was born in 1901. Bless you. No slang. Bless you. He ends up getting married to Mary. He was first class in his honours in Oxford. He worked in nuclear physics. Oh, all over the weapons. University of Melbourne hired him in distinguished in physics, but when he got to Australia, he lost his interest in physics. He was more interested in the world of spirits and spiritualism. So he was like, he wanted to know what was on the other side. He wanted to investigate ghosts. He was more interested in hey Stu, how are you going? Yeah, strange change. You go from yeah, you missed the start of the story. You missed the main character too. So the thing is, like, he goes from this extremely well-known academic, amazing person to this, yeah, he very much, but that's the thing, like, he really wanted the paranormal, like, he loved the paranormal, he just craved, and the thing is, everyone around him wanted to hide, like, there is, okay, so I spent the last 3 days watching documentaries about this, and watching 60 Minutes, watching this new documentary that came out, I say new, but it came out like 2 years ago, about this, and there is like this thing where everyone's trying to cover his part in this, but he is very much a part of it. He is, like, this picture that I got here is taken right off the Melbourne website, right off Melbourne Uni. So he's still well respected, but he was very high up in the cult. And that's really sad that people still think of him as highly respected, and, you know, and also, like, when, yeah, it is a cover-up. It's really horrible. This whole situation, like, this whole thing has got me bummed. This whole cult has got me so sad and so bummed. So there's like two sides. Like, there's the people who are like, oh, he's such a good person, he was highly respected, he just did some spiritualism, he just played with the Ouija board occasionally. And then there's the people who are like, oh no, he was nutty. Hey Tesla, how you going? No, we're just doing this bummed out story. So what happened was, he believed he was chosen by a college of spirits that is beyond somewhere, that chose him because he was a scientist. I'm good. Bit bummed, but good. So he Oh, Jizby. I'm calling you Jizby. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. No, he believed that he was chosen by a college of spirits in the beyond somewhere because he was a scientist. I'm calling him Jizby. You can refund it, it's fine. I'm okay with that. No, but he thought that because he was a scientist, he would be respected and people would hear him out about spirits. And that's what the spirits thought. And he also was very studying the philosophy of Imaginism, which could explain God and the purpose of human life. Yes, jizz. So what happened was, Anne ended up coming and grooming him to kind of be his second in command. Her second in command, my bad. Also, hi Orange. So his daughter-in-law kind of explains what happened, because she comes like up in the documentary and is like, he owned this property called Sentin. I can't even explain the name of this. Which means abode of police at Ferny Creek in Dandenong. Sentinikitan. Abode of police. I don't know. They might be able to be like this. But is where he regularly hosted like religious and philosophy discussions. And so she came and she was kind of talking to him. And like they went in while his wife Mary was... Ooh. Gisby. Thank you. You don't have to do that. I'm fine. You don't have to. I appreciate it though. But you don't have to. Also getting distracted. It is a huge gift. Now you can play with all my emotes I've just got. But he had like, they went into the office and his wife was making gravy, and the time yeah, I always give to your brother, but it's fine. But in the time he was making gravy, she had convinced him to come and start the cult. And this is where it's absolutely insane. She convinced him that she was Jesus, the reincarnation of Jesus, and that he was her John the Baptist. And that was where they kind of started this cult, and that they were going to use that property to start it. Now, I haven't got many other slides because I've just focused on all the research because there's so much after this. But I've just got the picture of the children, which are... I can't. It's horrible. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the cult, the main parts of this cult is insane. The fact that she thinks she's Jesus, first of all. She thinks she's the second coming of Jesus. That Rainier also thinks this about himself, that he is John the Baptist. That's just kind of the beginning. So the religious claims of this, I'll get onto the children in a second, but that's kind of my main part. That's where I emphasize a lot of it. But it's at Ferny Creek in the Dandenong Ranges on the eastern outskirts of Melbourne is the main camp. But they have land in New York, in America. They have land in England and all over, like large areas all over Melbourne they have. So religious claims is the family teaches an eccentric mixture of Christianity, Hinduism with other Eastern and Western religions on the principles that the spiritual truths are universal. The children studied a major scriptures in these religions. You know this story, Stu? Yep. I didn't know about this story, and it fucked me up all week. I am so upset. I hate it. I hate every part of it. It makes me really upset. I watched the documentary a few years ago. Yeah, watch the documentary. It will fuck you up. The group has inner circle who justify their actions by their claims to be reincarnations of the apostles of Jesus. So they pretty much just use I feel like this happens with a lot of religions. Not religions, cults. Same thing. That they just use all religions and mish them all together and use what's justified for whatever they're doing. It's except in this case, Anne had visions when she was on LSD once that, where was it? I want to get this exactly right. She had visions that there was going to be a great catastrophe where it was like a natural disaster or a World War III. And what she needed was a bunch of children to come. She needed it to have a bunch of children to reteach the world. Yes, I agree, Francie, but I'm also very open to everyone. I'm just trying to make it interesting. I'm trying to keep people entertained with eyes and stuff. But these are the children too. I also want to... Oh, well, I'm trying to teach people... Not teach. I'm trying to educate people about criminology and laws and stuff while also entertaining life. Yeah. Yeah. It's Criminology Monday, yeah. Criminology Monday. Yeah. But what happened was she kind of just went, okay, your tip didn't pop up. Oh, I haven't set the tip up. You tipped me. Jazz, stop giving me money. I love it, but stop. I feel bad. I haven't set the tip up yet. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Stop it. Thank you. Stop making me feel bad. Okay, I'll keep going, but now I feel guilty. Okay, I'll go there. So now I'm lost tracked. So she had this vision that the world was going to end, that she had to get all these children and they had to reteach the world, like her kind of vision of what the world is. And what was going to happen was a UFO was going to come down and take everyone from the cult up in a UFO. I don't know why this keeps happening in cults, that there's a UFO that's going to come down and take everyone, but I don't know. It's an ongoing thing with cults. UFOs are going to come and save us. Also, if we're going to keep going with the crazy, a conspiracy theory with the family is that one of the children is Julian Assange, which, crazy. It's not. He was never in this. But cool. Sorry, side note, but yeah. But let's get into the horrible that I am really trying to avoid and I really don't want to talk about. Yeah, no, they're not doing it. The conspiracy theorists, like, okay, so the thing with the family is that they really try to be secretive about what happened. So when people are very secretive and, like, you don't get a lot of information about things, people make up a lot of information. So that's why you get a lot of conspiracy theories about things. So they filled in the blanks. So they're like, oh, well, this kid has really bleached blonde hair, which she bleached all the kids' hair so they look like brothers and sisters. And they all dress like Von Trapp kids, and that was on purpose. But because they could see a resemblance in one of the kids and Julian Assange, they're just like, well, that's Julian Assange, it looks like him, therefore it is. No, it doesn't last forever. That's hair dye. She dyed their hair blonde. Bleach is like stripping the natural colour off of it and then making it blonde. That's hair dye. I know this because my mum was a hairdresser. But, so, this is where it gets really dark. Okay, so in 1950s, 1960s, you still had the traditional family values going around, but you had people breaking away from traditional family values kind of thing. So you had people, single mothers, kind of, people were having sex. That's fine. So people would get pregnant because there was like no contraception, church was still highly against that. I don't know, Jez. What is sex? I don't know. And so what they would do when someone would fall pregnant, and this is, I hate this. This makes me so sad. They would force women to give up their child. It makes me really upset. And they would, so things like putting a pillow over, like you would have the baby, then they'd like put the pillow over the mother's head and tranquilize them so they couldn't see the baby because it'd be easier for them. So things like that would happen. And what happened with several adoptions was the cult was very connected. So there would be cult doctors, they called them sect doctors, sect nurses, and sect sect social workers. And if you had all of those connected, you could illegally adopt a baby. So what happened was there was a lot of illegal adoptions happening to get these children into this sect. Now, they don't know exactly how many children went through this, but they know at least 28 were illegally adopted. So, 28 were adopted. I'm not going to say illegal, because that wasn't proven in court of law. 3 were illegally adopted. Proven. So, that's rough. I'm a bit softy when it comes to kids, I'm sorry. So, Anne had this thing, though, where she would... kidnapping. I'm just going by proper terms because trying to do it right, because if I want to have a career in this one day, I don't want someone to come across this video and be like, oh, she's using the wrong terms. That's all. So what happened with Anne, though, because we're going back to... going back to Anne up there, because she's going by Anne now. Anne had married again, by this point, to Bill, who is also a piece of shit. Just said I'd use the correct terms, but fuck it. And they both, he's also in on this, all this stuff, and they're adopting. They're also getting their cult members to adopt, but if their cult members adopt, they would also hand off these children to them to look after. And so they have like this little house where they would have aunties and uncles who would come and look after the kids while Anne and her husband would go off on trips to England and America, while the aunties and uncles would look after their children. And Anne would wear these clothes that would look like, that were very flowy and stuff, because she would constantly be pregnant. So the aunties and uncles were actually raising the kids, but Anne would be telling the kids that she was their mother. Anne was about 50 at the time. But yeah, so I guess it's kind of possible, but not really. Yeah, it's a lot of gaslighting. But so the aunties who were living, so the place where all the kids was called Lake Eildon, which I'm pretty sure is somewhere in Melbourne that I don't know. Lake Eildon, yeah. That's where they were living. Like on this that's where, this is where like the most horrible stuff happens. It is a massive property where all these kids are. They all look the same. They've all got dyed blonde hair. The boys all look like that. The girls have long blonde hair with bows in it, wearing Von Trapp styled clothing. Their shoes are all fancy and nice. It's just interesting. The aunties, it's like, what happened was, in the yoga classes, Anne would get women who are unhappy in their marriages to kind of come in, and anyone who was like really loyal should get to come and raise these children. So you had Patricia McFarlane, Elizabeth Whitaker, Maggot McLean, and Wynne Belmain, and they were the four who mainly raised these children. It was mainly women, and this is kind of what they did to the children. And I really feel, I hate talking about it, but I really feel like it's important that we kind of emphasize what happened to these kids, who are now older than us, would like to point out, but it needs to be kind of said, because we need to acknowledge that this happened to them. So they would wake up at 5:30 a.m, then they'd yoga and meditate. This is all 7 days a week, every day. Set up the boys' room for school. Then they'd eat vegetables for lunch and dinner. They had vitamins. Then they'd shower. Then more yoga and meditation, homework and reading, and then bed. They also had drugs. So they have full Valium, which is an anti-anxiety, epileptic, and withdrawal medication. They had Tegretol, which is an anti-epileptic. Then they had Monadol, which is a cold and flu tablet. And they had those three. Yeah, I know. And they have all three of those morning and night. So that's a lot. So if they were punished, though, I hate this. Yeah, I know, flat. I'm going to say that right eventually. I'm looking at this. I don't want to. If they were punished, they would go without meals. The longest one of them said, because I was watching it, the most one of them said they went without meals was 3 days. And they didn't even have much to eat. Normally, they'd only have vegetables for morning and dinner. So they would be locked in the shed for an hour. Once someone was locked in the shed for a week, they were abused every day by belts, the heel of one of Anne's shoe. This was also, most of this torture was done by one of the aunties. So this wasn't done by Anne and her husband. This was done by an auntie or an uncle, because sometimes the uncles were there. Water torture was done if they thought that they were lying, because Anne claimed that she could see auras. Yeah. Anne claimed she could see auras, so if she thought that one of the kids was lying, yeah, they would water torture them until they would tell them the truth. They would burn them with cigarettes. At 14, they would go through a clearing, which would be take LSD, and then Anne would appear at the door and they'd have a smoke machine, and she would, tell them what they want to hear. Anne would appear at the doorway with a smoke machine behind her to prove that she is Jesus. Yeah. And then if anyone said that you were Jesus, you would be sent to the mental institution that the cult owned. So that's fucked. Yeah, you can see why I'm a little bit about this. So this part is extremely heavy. Yeah, there's a cult-owned mental institution. I will go into that in a bit. This part is a lot heavier than any of the other parts. So if you don't deal with really extremely bad, I'm just going to say rape. Yeah. A lot of children have said to have the same incident, so they won't say what the name is because it hasn't been charged. A man has said, I'm going to give you a healing. I'm going to put a scarf around your head. I'm going to give you mushrooms or Viagra. I'm going to guess it's mushrooms because then says, and you will see bright colours. The person that I was listening to, the person says, person in the piece said that they just went into like this different world, and they felt pressure on their chest and in their genital area, and then something in their back area, and then for the next few days they had bleeding and pain in the back area, and they were sexually assaulted, and it happened to so many children. Yeah. So for 21 years this happened to at least 28 children, and it's heavy. Anne claimed, and what scared a lot of people from leaving or running or anything is that a lot of the aunties would follow the kids. Anne claimed she could curse people. She put people's names in ice, said it was black magic. I forgot to add, one of the rules was don't wet the bed, and a thing with children who have been abused is that they just wet the bed. It's not a thing, so it's like a cycle. They'd get abused for wetting the bed, and wetting the bed is a thing from being abused. Yeah. Yeah, it's heavy, and that's why So the thing is with this whole thing is that they know for sure that she acquired 14 infants. Her personally found 14 infants. Some were the natural members of people in the family, but some were irregular adoption arranged by lawyers, doctors, and social workers from in the group. And they were all given the surname of Hamilton Bryan, which is hers, and they were dressed like her, all that stuff. They were given all the drugs, said all that stuff. But all the cult members made it possible because she had links because of her John the Baptist. And because he was respected. And I need to like point very clearly, if it wasn't for him, she wouldn't have got away with as much as she did. He knew the current, he knew, Sir Robert Gordon Menzies, the current Prime Minister at the time. So it's just, everything was swept under the rug. It's just, all of it makes me so upset. So, before I get to what happens with the kids, we'll go to the New Haven. Yeah, Great White Brotherhood. Gold. Yep. It is a cult. Makes me sad. This is another picture of them. This one's with the girls. That's the picture. The one at the top, the back. Here's the thing about this. It hasn't been linked exactly to a white supremacist cult. But, yeah, content warning, this is dark. But it is easier from now on. Gets a little bit easier from now on. It hasn't been linked to a white supremacist cult, but the fact that she dyes all her kids' hair blonde, and she dyes her own hair blonde, it's a little bit weird. A little bit weird. So we'll go into the this is also a little bit bleh. The mental institution that the cult owned. So New Haven. So in the 1960s, New Haven in Kew was the private psychiatric hospital owned and managed by Marion Vilmuic, who was a member, and many of the staff also members. So what happened with that, though, was a lot of cult members would want to leave, or a lot of people who were, married to a cult member, and then the cult member would be like, I don't want to, Jesus, my partner, Jesus or Anne would say, you need to leave your partner and marry the person I tell you to. And the person that, I don't want Jesus fucking me. Yeah, and the person who was married to them said, that's fine, you can leave, but you don't get to take the children into this cult. Because they would try and take the children. And so she would be like, well, it only takes 2 people to sign you into this institution, and I can do that. So she would send the partner to the institution, or she'd send people who were leaving the cult into this institution and get them drugged up and just, and make them think that she was Jesus. Because if you get them on LSD and then do the thing that you do to the children, where you like come from the door and have the smoke coming up, be like, oh, Jesus. So she just wanted, at the end of the day, she just wanted to have everyone worship her. It just, very narcissistic, very psychopathic. So what happened was, in 1992, there was an inquest ordered into the death of a patient in 1975. And there was, it was due to sleep therapy and electric convulsion therapy, LSD, all this stuff. But, nothing happened. So then we go into, finally, police intervention. Yay. So the main policeman that you kind of hear about in all this is this guy named Lex DeMann, which Lex DeMann. What a name. So he, other than one thing he says, he's fine, but he did say one thing that really upset me. He said Vicpol was treating it as a welfare issue, and I'm like, honestly, he's gone, it's not really a policing issue, it's more a community services issue. I'm like, but come on. Please just do something. Because this went on for way too long. This starts in the 60s. This ends way too long. Okay. So. Yeah, thank you. So in late October, in 1989. Yes, that is true. I agree with that. But if we have the funding in the police, then the police should do something. If we take the funding out of the police, then we won't do it. Okay, this is, I'm going to get sidetracked here, but if we've given them all that funding, you've just sidetracked me. Because this is something I'm so passionate about that you just I'm studying criminology because I hate the way the system works. It's not I get the protesting, I get all that stuff. I get it. But I'm someone that's like, okay, this thing's fucked. I'm gonna go fix it. I will personally go and fix that. That is how I am. I need to fix something that's broken. I grew up and I grew up in a really shitty way. And I personally think that social services failed me. Personally. Now, am I bitter about it? No. Got me to where I am now. I'm happy. But I want to fix that so it doesn't happen to someone else. So, I'm here. I'm working on it. I'm gonna do something about it. Orange, don't be sorry. I'm just extremely passionate about this. This is why I do this. This whole thing makes me just... It's who I am. I need to fix this stuff. But I'll get back on what I was talking about. But late October, there was... oh God, I've lost my thing. I'm dumb. Where's the raid? I know there's a raid here. It's very important. A very important part, and I've lost it. Oh, here it is. There is a raid in 1978. Okay. 1978, and for some reason I've deleted it off my notes. I'm really upset about that. So in 1978 sometime, lost it in my notes. I'm dumb. Sarah, who does not know that she's adopted, because none of them know that they're adopted, she is done with the abuse. Absolutely done with it. So she jumps out of a window and just runs. Just bolts for it. And she gets to a house and says, "Take me to the police." She goes to the police and they say, are you sure you want to do this? And they go, and she says, if I don't do this, I'm going to go sleep in the gutter because I'm not going back there. So they raid the house and they get 8 children out of there. Or 6. 6 children. 6 children other than her. So what happens though is that when people go to the house, they have this little bunker where they stuff all the children in and say if the police come in, they're going to kill you, hide in this bunker. So the fact that they got 6 of them is amazing. So they ended up getting a lot of the children though. So what happened after that though is that Lex DeMann then goes, okay, late October and November in 1989, he goes, there needs to be a criminal investigation into this. So his higher ups say, okay, you can do a drug force into it in the 11th of December, but only give him 3 months. So he's got 3 months to clean it up, and nah, can't do it. They don't have anything. But in 1988, 7 female group members are jailed for social security for fraud for $191,000 in the Ringwood Magistrate. But Anne is worth $50 million, so not really anything. In August, all the children end up like either growing in, so 8 of the kids end up out, all the rest of them grow up in there. In August 2009, 2 individuals received financial compensation from Anne after suing her for $250,000, and a former member of the family alleged that she paid a sum of $350,000 to Hamilton O'Brien for real estate. The money was made by, okay, so like most cults, you give the money to the leader. It's just simple. You give it to the top. That's it. That's it. You sell off your property, give it to the top. MLM. Yes. Thank you. Pyramid scheme. I'm glad someone agrees with me that MLMs are scams. Okay. So, in 2001, I forgot to say this, Bill dies. So I'm pretty happy with that. Anne and Bill were arrested, but were only fined for forging birth certificates for 3 of the kids. It's really Anne. Oh, when did Raina die again? I know this is really me scoundering around, but this is really nothing happens. There's no end to it. Anne dies, Raina dies. It doesn't get solved. It's the best they did was put people in money for fraud. In money for fraud. In jail for fraud. Is this... it's very deflating. No one went in jail for child abuse. Rainier died in 1987 and died 2019, June 13th. Probably right around the time the documentary came out. Yeah, I think that's why everyone started talking about it. The family documentary was, yeah. She died at age 97. She lived fine. Nothing really happened to her. Yeah, deflating. Happiness. And here's my references. Yay. I like that. Like that no one's happy. Yay. We're all sad now. I'm actually really devastated. Oh, I could tell you more really sad things, but I feel like everyone's just bummed out enough as it is. But a lot of the kids killed themselves. There you go. There's more. There's more sadness. I'm just sitting here waiting for someone to save me from myself. I just hate it. I hate everything. I'm just going to go back to LSD screen. Nope, not that one. Yay, LSD screen. So, what did we learn? Thanks. I've just... oh, thank you for the follow. I'm sorry if this is the first you've seen of me, because this was a bum. Okay, I'll hydrate. I like your name. It's like Minties. Ex-Minties. Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone watching right now. It is super bum. Also, if you want to... okay, more. If you want to recommend any true crime, I have a section now in my Discord, which is, yeah. Yeah, sorry Kim if I like super bummed you out on your lunch break. Really sorry. Oh my god, this person is just here to watch me drink. You want another one? Okay, good. I'm glad. It was just... I didn't think it would be that sad when I started. I just thought it would be like a quirky thing. Yeah. No, I know all that stuff too. I know all the really sad stuff. I just try to avoid it. I didn't know about it, and I just was looking into it because I'm a bit younger for like 60s stuff, and I looked into it and I was like, oh god, no, don't abuse children, please, no. I just tried to rush through that one. That's what happens. Trump or Biden? Biden. That's a dumb. That actually reminds me. I do want to do a Trump true crime episode. That'd be an interesting one. For impeachment. Both of them? I don't really like them. I don't really like either of them. Yeah, Trump for impeachment. I don't like Trump or Biden. Also, I'm Australian, so I don't really, have... I don't really have a dog in that race, but at the same time... Yeah, I know. Fascinating sidelines, though. The thing is about Trump, like, I get super fascinated in, like, his, like, brain. I don't know. He's a fascinating creature. Like... Oh, I'm so sorry, Canadians. If you're Canadian, for some reason, watching me, I'm sorry. But, oh my god, fascinating. But at the same time, we also kind of have to deal with that. Like, we have bases from America here. Our leader likes to follow everything that he does. Don't know why. Sorry that I'm talking about politics, but I am. Yeah, like, we're a Western culture. Like, we do Western stuff. I've never been overseas, though, so... Wonder if Minty's just going around making people drink and then asking if we want Biden or Trump. Because personally, I'd want neither. Yeah. I could, if he wants, I could do a survey on my thing, but I know who's going to win. I could do a poll if they speak up. Just assume people. Me just sitting here with my lovely LSD screen. Ooh. That's fine. Just trying to perk myself up. Well, I'm never hydrated. I have a tube draining water from my head, so I'm constantly dehydrated. And I choose Biden over Trump. But, in saying that, I hate them both. Not equally, though. And that opinion is on record. I am a white woman who doesn't like Trump. Weird, right? I should do something, but yeah, it is right. That's good. I wonder if there's anyone. Oh, Sam's on. I should go raid my Sam. Yeah. Thanks, lad. I'm actually just gonna raid someone. See ya, flat. Full lat. I'm gonna work on that. let's get this going. Bye, lovely. Mwah. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I think I just bummed myself out. I know you don't mind, but I like to call people what they would like to be called. It's just me. Nope. I did it wrong. That's what I do. I can't, as my thing is, I can't spell. See if I can do it before I lose all followers viewing. Did it! That is actually kind of cool. I like that. Yeah. Anyway, I will see you all on Wednesday. Have a good day. Mwah.